Hello, YouTube! Welcome back to Nerd After Hours. It has been a minute, especially after the last video, which was very heavy topics, which I still stand by everything that was said in that video. Just to tick off any conservatives in my audience. Today we're going to get back to some nerdy topics, though, because we might add a spice of politics in there a little bit there, but for the most part, this stuff's still very much in the nerd realm. And we're talking about the Black Panther 2 drama, and we're talking about the movie Prey, which is the new Predator movie, which I just watched today, which I give it a solid, 7 out of 10. I liked it. I especially like how the theme, how she was so underestimated throughout the entire movie, and she comes out on top. Love that. Oh, shit, I probably should have said spoilers.
It's pretty vague, but yeah, I mean, I would like to go into spoiler territory. I don't think we have
All
to
right.
right away, but the
All
stuff
right.
I want to talk about that definitely would be counted as a spoiler.
I will warn everybody in the audience, spoilers are ahead. So spoilers are ahead. You've been warned. So if you're spoilers, run. Run now. You coward. Somebody might take that personally. Someone's gonna be like, how dare you? That's alright. We offend people on the daily on here. At least we are offending the right people. No pun intended. I'm going to hell. It's okay. At least that's what the pastor keeps telling me. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, enough of my antics. So what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the Prey stuff, or you want me to educate you on the Black Panther stuff?
I guess Black Panther, just because I felt like I tried to look into a little bit. I was like, I'll just wait and have it explained to me because
Okay,
I always get
so
confused.
like a week ago on Twitter, they dropped the first Black Panther, or what are they? It's not Black. I don't think it's a Black Panther 2 anymore. I think it's just called Wakanda Forever, but was supposed to be the second Black Panther movie. But as we all know, Chadwick Boseman tragically passed away, and
Right, yeah.
so they had to make changes to the story and the movie they were going to make. So, to compensate for those changes, that was the big thing there. However, there was some stuff they hinted at, like Prince Namor is going to be in the movie, and
Who's that?
Prince Namor is he's basically like the king of Atlantis for Marvel. He's Marvel's
Oh, it's a
Aquaman.
fictional. I
Yeah,
thought that was supposed to be an actor's name, and I was so confused. Okay, that
yeah, I
makes more
know.
sense. Okay, I was
And
like,
there's some drama surrounding him too, because which is really, it's stupid drama, but it's you know what I mean. And yeah, it's all stupid drama really, but but we'll get to him in a later part of the segment. Basically, we got a bunch of drops, right? Well, the tail end of the trailer, we see a hand in the Black Panther suit, and it's a very thin hand. So a lot of us believe that it is one of the badass female ladies that is that exist in the Marvel universe that are Wakandan.
mhm,
So,
yeah.
which makes sense. A lot of that's a logical sense, right? If Chadwick Boseman can't be the Black Panther, who's the best option? Well, there's 3 badass young women that we've been introduced to from the first movie that could take up the mantle.
Well, what I saw a lot of people talking about, and I thought they were going to go with, or at least I hoped, was his sister being the next
Same.
Black Panther. I thought that just made the most sense story-wise and would just work better than anything else. But in general, even just a female Black Panther in general isn't that much of a shock. I mean, the women warriors is a big deal in that series already, so why would it be that weird if the next Black Panther was a woman? I don't see why that would be a stretch myself, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really not a stretch at all. It's just there's just some let's face it, there's some like sexist, misogynistic nerds who are mad that the Black Panther's gonna be a girl, basically. That's
Uh,
what it really comes down to. There one of the things that they're like I've been seeing is whether like Shuri is everyone's main candidate, because one of the things is the reason why is because in the comic books for a little while she was the Black Panther.
oh, well, that works perfect then.
Yeah, canon wise it works
I didn't know
perfect.
that. See, I've never even picked. I didn't even know what Black Panther was until the movies came out. At first, I was confused. I thought it was supposed to be like a male version of Catwoman when I saw the costume, and my sister about ripped my head off. She was like, "What are you talking about? That's not even the same universe." And she's like, "This is a Marvel thing." I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Um, so yeah, no, to me, like, yeah, no. So that kind of helps.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's why a lot of people like me particularly do want her to be the Black Panther, because I feel like it just makes sense.
It
And
does.
it's canon in the comic books that she's taken up the mantle multiple times. So it's, and she like, I think Marvel audiences from the big screen are ready for the actress that plays Shuri to be the main character. I think we're ready to see her take up the role, and I think she's a big enough actress. I think she will do great. I think that she plays Shuri very well. I don't know too much about Shuri, but from what from the way that the MCU has created her, she looks like a fantastic candidate in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like, I'm coming from somebody who's only watched the movies and I don't know anything about the comic just from what was set up there.
Yeah.
Even without any like what's canon or not, it just makes sense if you're gonna have anybody do it, have it be her.
Yeah. So one of the naysayers have been saying is that she doesn't have enough combat experience, and I'm like, did you not watch the two huge ass battles that she has been involved in? Um,
That's a weird take. I don't agree with that one.
I don't agree with it either. I 100%. And one of the things that they're saying is that in order for her to be a believable Black Panther, she has to have a training montage in the movie.
I thought they hated training montages.
You
That's what they
know,
got mad about when it came to Ray.
I
What?
right, right. Nobody said these misogynistic nerds were consistent. Let's be honest now.
See, that doesn't make any sense because that's the thing is like she was a warrior and like she also had like the science nerdy thing going on, but she was also a warrior.
Right.
So that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, also like in the comic
uh,
books, like all right, it's canon that like all the royal family is like trained in combat at a young age. It's like it's just part of their education growing up. So
right.
literally, they could just have a sentence if they need anything at all. They could just say like, she could say something like, "Are you kidding me? I'm part of the Wakandan royal family. You think I didn't learn hand-to-hand combat before I was 7 or something like that?" You know,
Right.
it's literally
That
all.
doesn't
And I don't even think she needs that, to be honest. I think that surviving of the battle with Thanos and all those freaking aliens everywhere is more than enough combat experience.
right. Like she's been in it wasn't just the Black Panther movie that they show her fight too. There was
Yeah,
more that's so weird
that's
that
what I'm trying to
somebody
say. Like she was involved in both the last like 2 Avengers movies. I'm pretty sure she was involved in combat in
Yeah.
both of them, and I'm pretty sure, and she was involved in a Wakandan civil war essentially, where because there was a contingent of people who sided with Killmonger as Black Panther over
I
T'Challa's.
mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I just think it makes more sense to have his sister take up the mantle, but
I
I
agree.
wouldn't like throw a bitch fit if they did that. I think it would make
Yeah,
it would be less satisfying. It would I don't think that would
yeah.
no.
It's just a silly debate at this point. I think that there's no reason for her to have a training montage, or for her to even have to explain it, honestly, because I feel like
We've seen her fight.
yeah, we've already seen her fight. We know she is capable, and there are other things that I've seen some people say. I've seen some other things like, how's she gonna be the Black Panther if she doesn't have the herb or whatever? I'm like, she's a tech wizard. Are you kidding me? She could just replace You know what I mean? Like, it's what they
Mhm.
could just use Wakandan tech to do the same results. There's no reason why they can't. If they're a technologically advanced society. I'm sure that and Shuri in the MCU is an inventor. So
Mhm.
she's invented a lot of like she invented the Black Panther suit that he wears throughout like the entirety of the movie. You know,
Yeah.
that nanite thing that just it just forms around all your other stuff, and it's like if she can invent that, there's no way that she can't invent something or like nanites or whatever that can do the same thing as the herb or whatever did for T'Challa, if that is necessary.
Right.
You
Nah,
know,
I just think it's silly. We've already seen. I'm gonna guess whoever made that argument hadn't watched because I'm not even somebody who pays that much attention to Marvel, and I know that she's a warrior in the film, so it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like
yeah,
she
she
doesn't
walks
even.
around with those arm cannon things, and she's just killing aliens left and right in the middle of a war zone. You can't. How much more badass do you really need to be?
Yeah, that's just silly. I feel like whoever said that didn't watch the movies. I don't know. That doesn't make
Right.
any. That's the only logical explanation I can come up with in my head is.
All I'm saying is, if it had been
Uh,
me and that you just swapped me for Shuri, same weapons, it just would have been pee everywhere, and me just high pitched screaming. They'd have been like, "Get the fat white guy off of the battlefield." I'm just being honest. I'm just saying,
Track
like,
her down.
the lady is 10 times the warrior. I think that any in her universe than any of us would be in her shoes.
Yeah.
Like, honestly. Replace her with any real life human in that scenario, and all of us would have just peed our pants, ran away screaming, and been like, "It's aliens!" Ah! And what does she do? Like the badass she is, she's just like, "I got laser guns. Screw you, aliens." I created cat-shaped gauntlets. How cool am I? Like literally, and then like she's out like in the MCU, like she's like correcting Iron Man and the Hulk on stuff. Like, well, why didn't you just do it this way? And they're like, we didn't think of it.
It
They
makes
just
sense.
they just made her like one of the smartest people in the whole damn universe.
I feel like people are just mad because we've been having a lot of female versions, like even uh Thor: Love and Thunder, like
Oh
had Jane,
yeah,
but it wasn't like she was replacing him. They just had her come in temporarily
I know. I was
as
actually a little
that.
bit mad about that, to be honest. I was ready for Natalie Portman to take over.
Even not take over. I think I know we're kind of jumping ships on what comic book thing we're talking about, but
Yeah,
I think it would have been cool to see her be a regular and for them to not kill her off
yeah,
permanently. I think I don't know. I understood why it was for story wise, but I felt like I was really enjoying their chemistry and their
right.
back and forth. And then they took her back out, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to see more of that.
Yeah, I was ready for Lady Thor to do, and she did some cool shit in this movie that she doesn't do in the comic books, by the way.
Oh,
So,
really?
oh yeah. So in the comic books, Mjolnir never broke, right? Mjolnir was just, it was just like there was a storyline where Thor became unworthy and he had to like go through this whole thing to like become
Mm-hmm.
worthy again. It's a long, convoluted point. Point is, Jane Foster was worthy, so she picked it up and she's just kind of taken over while, Odinson had to go do all that stuff, to
Mm-hmm.
become worthy again and all that good jazz. Anyway, so one of the cool things that she's done in this movie is she uses Mjolnir almost like a shotgun. Like, do you remember the scene where she like hurls the thing and she like kills like
Yeah.
three of the shadow creatures at the same
Oh,
time?
that
Just,
was great watching
and then you just
like
see it all
the
come back.
action sequences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she doesn't do that in the comics. That was
Oh,
way cooler than anything I saw. Because in the comic book, she just does what Thor does. That was way cooler. That was like out of the box, so like showing you how she could reuse this broken weapon, and it was almost like the hammer was more useful as this cracked like comes
yeah.
together weapon. Yeah, it just yeah. It was just felt like it was more powerful, and I loved that concept. And I don't know. I hope we get to see more of that in the future.
Yeah, as much as I hate the whole like bringing people back from the dead trope or whatever, where
Mm-hmm.
it makes death sequences less memorable, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I would forgive it just because I feel like it was such a waste to bring her back and give her such a cool role just to immediately kill her by the end of the movie. Like I
I know.
loved see, and you didn't like the cheesy. I loved it. Was that perfect balance of like it had some fun,
Oh, I had
goofy
fun
action
watching it. It's
sequences.
just the
Um,
cheesy stuff makes me uncomfortable because I'm weird like that. I'm just kind of like, oh god, oh no, it's so cheesy. But look, the movie was fun. Don't get it twisted. Just because, you know what I
oh, I
mean.
love that. I love
It'll.
the rom com sequences.
Oh
It
yeah.
made me very happy. It was and that's the thing is, I love a good love story, and I feel like that's the type of thing that the newer movies don't have as much. It's more just action. So I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
got to watch a cheesy rom com with some action sequences, and I liked that.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted more of that than
Yeah. You
the
know.
now he's a brooding hero, and
Now he's dad. Now he's gone from dad
now he's
bod to dad god. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that was
Took.
fine. That was fine
Yeah.
that they did that. I'm not
Yeah.
against it. I just
Oh,
I
by the
don't know. It
way, I
felt
believe
yeah.
that that's his actual daughter playing.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
Chris
know
Hemsworth's
that.
daughter, I think. I read that somewhere that his daughter is the one who's playing
Oh,
the.
I feel like I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see if any of this MCU kind of timeline stuff ends up in the comic books because media always influences media. Like that's how we
Hmm.
got Harley Quinn in the DC comic books, by the way.
Hmm.
Uh, she was actually a Batman animated series character only for a while there, and then DC made her a canon character in the comic books because the
Yeah, I
fans
did
liked
know
her.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she
So
was introduced in the show.
yeah, so I'm wondering if Thor's adopted daughter is gonna end up in the comic books.
Oh, I
You
thought
know,
she was already in the comic book.
I don't
See,
think
once again,
so.
areas
I
areas where you know more than I do.
I mean, I don't know about that. I just am saying like I've not heard of Thor adopting a child and raising her as his own. So, I'm just saying that like, I think it'd be kind of cool to see Thor be a dad, make a god character like more relatable as a man,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
It's a very fascinating concept. But to pull it back to the other stuff, I'm just saying that like the reason why I think that like a lot of the people are mad, like the MCU thing that was going around, like, oh, I know,
Yeah.
right? You're just like, ah, it's exactly, yeah. I roll my eyes at it too, like, oh god, grow up. It's like, isn't that ironic? The biggest nerd on the planet has to tell a bunch of nerds, hey, you need to grow up, okay? Not every superhero is a dude. I'm sorry to break your sad little fifis. You know, oh god. And yeah, also like there's like this TikTok trend that's been going around in the comic book community, and I think it's kind of cool and fun. It's like basically I've been seeing people of color go around and say, okay, I'm gonna make the Avengers, but I'm gonna make a team of Avengers with just people of my own ethnicity. So they're like, so for example, I saw a black guy say, okay, here's the Black Avengers. I saw an Asian guy go, here's the Asian Avengers. And then I thought about making a joke, let's do the White Avengers, and then just showing the first Avengers movie poster.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're not
I just didn't
wrong.
post it because I thought that might be considered rude, even though my video would just be a joke. But I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to be rude.
Sometimes people don't always understand the humor too, and you never know like
Yeah.
who your audience is at all given times. I've been
Right.
surprised with like things I thought were very obviously sarcasm that I've offended people with, where it's like, I can't believe you think that. I'm like, I don't. It's a joke, but it doesn't
Yeah.
always read that way.
Yeah. And I was kind of like another reason why I didn't make that TikTok is because I didn't want to take away from something from like people of color with the joke, and that was why I never posted that video. It's just a funny thought I
Right.
had because it was like, oh look, oh damn it, it's already happened. But like but it's still, you know what I mean, like just because it also just goes to show that comic books have come a long way and still have further to go because like yeah, in the old like early first Avengers team we're all white people.
Well, I've seen that same thing. I haven't read the Sandman comics and I haven't watched the show yet, but I've just
I
been
haven't.
hearing people talk about it, and it's this thing where people are mad because there's too many black people in it and not enough white people in the cast, and they said it's unrealistic, which is very funny because it's supposed to be a fictional world too. So technically,
Sandman's not even a
the
person, he's like an entity. He's like he's closer to a
yeah,
god than a person, so gods can look however they want.
Yeah, but apparently it's distracting that there's too many black people in it, and I just thought that was so funny and wild. Like people are legitimately offended by inclusion now. It's so weird to
Oh
me.
yeah, I've been seeing it on the Lord of the Rings side of nerdom too, because the Lord of the Rings is getting a new series.
Oh, I
On
didn't know that.
Yeah, they're getting they're doing a TV show on Amazon, and
Okay,
yeah, it's supposed to be all the stuff that happens before the first trilogy.
okay, yeah.
So basically they're the actors they are hired for some of the characters are people of color, and of course white guy nerds are over here bitching about it. Oh, the dwarf women don't have beards. Why don't they have beards? It's like, yeah, because apparently the dwarves, regardless of gender, are supposed to have beards.
I have
Apparently.
heard that, but I feel like that doesn't matter much.
Yeah, and of course another thing they bitched about was how like the dwarf queen is black, and people were mad about it, and I was like, oh my
Why?
god, I don't know. They're like, they said something about like one. I saw something on Twitter about how they were like, oh, there's no black people in there. I'm like, you don't know that, and why wouldn't elves and dwarves come in all the same damn colors humans do? They're practically. I mean,
Right?
tell me I'm wrong. They're just
That just makes sense to me personally. Like,
yeah. There's no rules
ah,
on this shit. It's fantasy. Like, good God, grow up, people.
I
Uh,
feel you.
that I guess. I mean, that's all. It drives me nuts that the fandom is like that. That there's this element of sexism and racism, and it's like, go the fuck away. Comic books have been progressing past you since before half of you guys that are my age bitching about it even existed. Come on. Like, I saw this other thing today on TikTok where somebody was saying that if Steve Rogers was real, he'd have back the blue stickers on his vehicles and stuff. I was like,
I don't believe that.
yeah, I
Mm-mm,
don't either. Like, yeah, the
mm-mm.
character that's coded Jewish is gonna back the cops who constantly beat the crap out of marginalized people. Yeah, the vigilante who goes against the government all the time is gonna back the cops no matter what. Please, Captain
Gosh. Well, that's a big
America.
thing. I feel like
Good.
that's such a thing in like all nerd communities. Like that's the thing is I love Twilight, but it always drives me crazy. Like I feel like a lot of people are better about talking about it, but always just like the lack of accountability when it comes to things like the racism parts of it and everything. And
Yeah.
won't bother me so much except for like when fans dogpile on it. And I feel like a lot of people have gotten better about it, but I feel like almost like any type of franchise, things like Star Wars especially have just like this big group of people who are like, the whole cast isn't white males. I gotta get mad and it's weird.
Drives me nuts, honestly. It's like, hello, other kinds of people exist, and you can find inspiring stories in people that are not part of your ethnicity. And if you would listen to people of color, for those particular nerds out there in the audience who may have made it to this point, if people of color have been looking up to the superheroes that have already been created. I don't think that it's a big stretch for us to do the same. To look at,
Well, for me, I think it's strange because like I remember when I was a kid, um, like I was pretty young when like Princess and the Frog came out, and I always loved all the Disney princesses, and I wasn't like, oh, I'm mad that they have a black. I remember just as a kid, my kid brain just went, oh, look, a pretty girl. I can't wait to see a movie where a pretty girl kisses a like. It
yeah,
didn't even phase my child mind, so it always confuses me why adults in this age seem to get so worked up about it.
I don't know either. Like, think about it. I grew up on the X-Men and Power Rangers. Like, these are teams of people who were all different ethnicities, genders, sexualities, and like it didn't phase me at all. It's just like, oh look, these are some really cool, heroic, inspiring characters. Like, you can't look at Storm and tell me you don't see an inspiring character. Like, come on, a
Yeah.
superhero who can control the weather, who's been, by the way, it in the comic books she was for a while there married to T'Challa,
Oh, which I'm
the
gonna guess
Black
Charlotte's
Panther,
a female. Okay.
the Black Panther,
Oh,
the
okay.
the guy one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
T'Challa.
right.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, you know what I think the MCU should do just to piss off these guys even further. At some point, they should they should make Shuri and Aurora or Aurora, the Storm. They should make them both bi or batten or or gay, and have them get together just to piss them off further. Like, oh,
Oh,
now
I
we
would
got a movie with.
love to watch that. Oh my gosh.
Could you
Uh,
imagine the conservatives just throwing a hissy fit? Oh my, they made them gay.
Black and Gay? Oh
Black and gay.
my.
Oh god. Oh, I'd just laugh my ass off and be like, I'm gonna pre-buy my ticket. Fuck you. There's just something fun about pissing off conservatives, especially over arbitrary shit like that. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Not buy a ticket? You weren't going to anyway. Tell me I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Tell me I'm wrong. Like, come on. I couldn't even, like, I had to drag one of my friends to that Black Panther movie, practically. And I'm like, just go watch it. Don't be a bitch. And he just, and basically, because I challenge his masculinity, his racism with masculinity. By challenging his masculinity, how funny is that? And then he had a good time. And I was like, oh, see, that wasn't so hard, was it? And he's just like, shut up. It's just a funny-ish moment there.
Oh my gosh. So, back when the original Black Panther movie came out, and I was still very, like, I didn't understand any of it because at the time I wasn't as much, like, I understood DC because I grew up with, like, the DC comics and show, but I didn't understand Marvel. I really didn't grow up with any Marvel, so I didn't know the
Uh-huh.
characters very well.
Uh-huh.
I
You were
kind
just
of,
lusting after Catwoman. We know what's happening.
I was
I'm just
definitely
teasing.
as straight as a child. What are you talking
Uh-huh.
about? Anyways,
Uh-huh. About as
so
straight
for
as a
me, when Black
rainbow.
Panther came out, um,
Go ahead. Sorry.
oh,
Continue your
okay.
story.
So, anyway, so I was like in high school when the movie originally came out, and I remember my sister Lizzie. She was really excited about it 'cause she knew who Black Panther was, and she was the one who originally gave me like a huge scolding about like, what are you talking about? Like, this is definitely separate from Catwoman. Like, this is a entirely different universe, different character. And I didn't understand the race stuff at all because I was still very stupid because I just got out of homeschooling and
Right.
I didn't learn about that
You
stuff.
weren't
I
stupid. You
vaguely
were
knew.
ignorant. There's a difference. You have
Okay,
to,
yeah, there's.
yeah. You have to use the right verbiage here. We have to remember, ignorance means you weren't taught. Stupidity means you're not smart enough to know. You weren't
Right.
stupid. You were ignorant. Therefore, you were not taught. I'm just saying that because one, the reason I'm correcting you is one because it's a lesson it took me forever to learn, and I too
Yeah.
have been ignorant in the past and am still learning to this day. So
So yeah, I was definitely ignorant. I was uneducated.
yeah,
I would like to think I'm a lot better now. I'm sure there's things that I could learn. But anyways, at the time I didn't fully understand racism or what the problem was with things going on around me. And I told you about how I was engaged in high school before,
oh
right?
yeah, I think you mentioned that.
My religious marriage. So
Ooh.
when Black Panther was coming out, I knew that like my sister, who I genuinely liked, was very excited about it, and I thought, oh, I'm sure it's gonna be cool. And my boyfriend at the time, fiance, whatever you want to call it, he was in college when I was like still just getting into high school, right? And I remember he was so mad about it, and at the time I didn't really get why. I figured like, oh, it must be something like going against the comics or something. Cause it's like he
Yeah,
read Marvel comics, so he knows what it is.
yeah,
And I remember him going off about how like I will never see this movie. This looks so stupid. Blah 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 blah. And looking back now, it horrifies me because I'm just like, oh my gosh,
yeah, because
like
his true colors got
that's a
seen
good thing I
now.
got. Like there's so many things where I look back at it now. I'm like, oh, so he was probably a racist.
Ugh, yeah, I've got a little bit of that too. It's like I can relate a little bit. I've also got like a few instances where it's kind of like for in my case, because like I'm like the cured version of that. Like I wouldn't say I was like that, but you know what I mean. Like there were a few things like that I like in my younger years would have questions like, oh, why are we making that movie? And now that
Uh
I'm
huh.
older, I get it, and it's like, oh, and then like part of me thinks about like my past self and just wants to like reach backhand him.
Yeah,
Like if I could go to
I
find
definitely
20-year-old
feel that
me, just
way.
whack. Oh,
Yeah. There's a lot of I remember it's very interesting talking to my friends who didn't grow up in a religious cult and things that
mm-hmm.
I just say offhandedly that I think I thought of as normal. It's so funny to get their reactions of like, that's not normal. What the effing out? Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not the universal experience. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's what happened to me as a kid.
Relatable again. You grow up in
Yeah, I
any
feel like
church,
when I
you're like,
talk to that stuff, it's more like, oh, hold my beer. Whereas when I talk to them, it's like, I feel like there's so many times where I'll just be offhandedly talking about something that happened to me when I was a kid that I think is funny, and then I see Boki just come over and like start to give me a hug, and it's like, what are you doing? I'm fine. Like, what do you mean? This is a funny story, and it's like, no, that's not normal.
oh, yeah, and then you got
What
guys like me and you going, what? What do you mean that's not normal?
do you mean that's not normal? It's like, you mean we didn't all have like missionary kids who came over and regularly raped everybody? What do you mean? That was just like a thing that happens. I mean, I'm not saying it's okay, but it happens, right? And it's like, no, no.
You mean you didn't have the pastor just kind of randomly give everybody butt slaps for no reason? Just, hey, what's
Yeah.
up? Good morning, slap.
You never got a full body pat down all the time and told about how if you have sex, you'll be like a dirty piece of used gum.
I got that lesson actually.
Mm.
I got that one. I understood. Captain America. I understood that reference.
See, see, whenever I say this stuff, it's like zero phase. But around people I know who didn't grow up in that culture, it's some stuff that I just is very mundane to me. Apparently, is quite shocking in other circles, and I need to
Oh
be a little bit more sensitive sometimes to what I say.
yeah. Yeah. Did you ever get the one where they were like, where they tried to like drive home how persecuted Christians are? I remember one guy. All right, this is I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here before we talk about the pray thing. I remember I was when I was in a teenager in going to like the youth church stuff because like I went to a big like fancy person church at first, like all the rich people in this town were
Hmm.
basically funding this thing, and they had their own smaller building just for the teenagers
Hmm.
and the youth teachers and all that stuff. So we would go over there, and one evening, to push how persecuted Christians are, he brought up a history lesson about how they were tossed into the arena at like like in Rome, the gladiatorial arena,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
this
I heard that
guy
all the time.
this guy brings out a like 6 foot long sword and like just tosses it on the ground with a big clang. And then, like, you see that, and that's what they would have had to toss you. And you would have had to fight lions with one hand tied behind your back, and with your mom and your dad strapped to a stick, or to a piece of wood or
Just
whatever.
trying to traumatize you as much as possible, give you like the most
Successfully done, by
vicious.
the way. My 13-year-old self was indeed traumatized. Thank you for that,
Well, I
Pastor.
had clinical depression, so a lot of tactics that would work on normal kids didn't work on me because things like I've learned now like why I thought it was like, oh, it's just because I know I'm Jesus will protect me, but now it's like, oh, it's because of my mental illness. But like my body naturally, like I naturally don't care about myself and I want to die all the time, and it's like I have to work out of that being my default, right? So I never cared much about like going to hell and death because I didn't care about what happens to me. I was never afraid of hell, never really, worried about that type of thing. But I had so much dreadful fear because there'd be like little kids I'd meet at the playground who weren't from my church, and I was like, oh my god, they're going to go to hell and die, and that terrified me. And it was like if I can't successfully convert them, they're going to die in the most horrible, horrific way, and that traumatized. I remember I had so many times where I would be like crying my eyes out because I'd meet like this nice little girl at the playground, and it's like she's gonna go to hell and die because I wasn't successfully able to like convert her to Christianity. And that had to just be something that my child conscience had to live with. Oh, what did I just do?
I remember
Uh-oh.
in high school, I had a stupid, like, we're better than you moment.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm talking about. You know.
Uh,
Because you were a
yeah.
Christian in high school, too. And we had a table. And only the Christians were allowed to sit at that table.
Oh, really? Oh, I never had anything
Oh,
like that. I was
yeah.
the only Christian at my school. I was definitely a fish out of water.
Are you kidding me? In my small ass town, there was like there was enough of us to fill a table. Luckily
No,
for
not us.
us,
I wish I had. I honestly wish I had that. Would
and
have been a little bit better for my mental health. Not that that's
um,
okay either, but
oh no, yeah, and it was all right. So I used to work for this play. I think I've mentioned this before. I'm not going to mention it here, but basically, they made us do what did you call it? Because we had to like make our skin color darker and wear makeup. What did you call it?
brown face instead of black
Yeah,
face,
yeah.
or
We
I
we,
don't
we, we
know.
weren't pretending to be black people. We were. What did you call it? I think
There's a different word.
You called it Jew face. That's what you called it.
Oh, oh, that's great.
For the
That's
record,
not
Carissa
offensive at all.
is Jewish descent, by the way. So nobody get mad in the comments. That's where that comment came from. But I guess it more accurately, I guess it'd be in my case Italian face. I guess because I was a Roman soldier most of the time I was in the play. But yeah, they
Oh
would
my
make us
god.
all wear makeup to make our skin darker, and their excuse for it is because people back then were in the sun all the time, so everybody was brown.
Oh
That
my.
was
Oh, why?
Yeah, that's what they said. And basically, the lunch table was all the kids who worked at that play. The Christian lunch table was like, yeah, we all worked at that play, and that was our little like club table. And we were snotty about it. Some of us more than others. Like I was probably on the lower end of the snottiness, to be honest, because like I also am a nerd, and the churchy folk don't like nerds either.
Mhm.
They don't. A lot of them pretend they are okay with nerdy people. They're like, oh, superheroes are just innocent fun. I'm like, yeah, until they start reading the comics, then they get real #offended.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it would be really because I definitely saw like the group of like Christian nerd dads are okay, but generally like for me and my friends that were into different stuff, we were treated as like silly and
Aliens.
disrespectful if we
Yeah.
like wore costumes and stuff. Whereas like my brother-in-law would wear like his shirts and stuff and talk about, and that was like cute, but for some reason when girls liked it, it was offensive.
Yeah.
It was very odd. I'm sure that's a niche thing. I'm sure
I'm
that's
trying.
not everything,
Oh yeah.
but
Uh.
that's how our particular group was, anyways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I grew up in there was still like a little bit of what do they call it, satanic panic, kind of like remnants of that still, even though I was in like the the 90 like I mean I'm a 90s baby, so it was like the
Yeah, yeah,
early
yeah.
early 2000s when I was a teenager. So
Hmm.
so there's still remnants of like the 80s satanic panic. So Pokemon cards were bad, Yu-Gi-Oh cards were bad. uh I
We
got
had
all
that.
sorts of shit like that. I'm trying to think here. What else did I get in trouble for? I got in trouble for all sorts of things. Especially in the younger. I got in trouble once for drawing superheroes. Like I think I drew a picture of
Oh my
Superman
god.
in my own personal sketchbook,
Huh.
and I got in
Was
trouble
it
for.
even during church or?
Yeah, it was during it was like a free time thing at a church camp.
Really? During
Yeah,
because I would have kind of some silly stuff where like they would get mad because I'd be like, I don't know, doodling or doing something other than Bible during church time. And it was mostly
no,
because I have, now I know I have ADHD. And for me, it's like, I'm going to have a panic attack if I'm like sitting still for too long. But
yeah.
that'd be considered really offensive to them.
Oh, yeah. Also, like I would get in trouble
That
for not.
surprises me, just like drawing a picture during free time. That's so mundane.
Yeah, like literally, like, and that's the thing. Like I've always been like the artsy type, right? So like that's just what I did in my off time. I would draw, and that was I got it. I remember I had somebody yell at me for drawing Superman and not drawing Jesus, apparently. Uh, and I'm trying to think. Also,
Hmm.
like, I mean, I got into trouble for all sorts of things that were just ridiculous. Like, in hindsight, like I remember I gave a 5-year-old kid, like a Yu-Gi-Oh card, and I got in trouble for that. Because I had spare Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and so I was like, oh, you can have one here. I think it was
Hmm.
a scarier monster, which is probably why I got in trouble. Now that I think about it, but
Maybe.
that might because I don't remember exactly the monster I gave him, so I can't remember how scary the artwork was or not. But thinking about it now, some of that artwork's a little scary. If I'd have gave him like Petite Dragon, I'd have been fine, I'm sure. Because that's a tiny dragon. It would have been funny, cute. But
Hmm.
pretty sure I gave him some kind of demon monster thing, and that's probably why I got in trouble. I'm damn dirty.
Still.
You're giving them devil worshipping cards. Yeah. I'm trying to think about all the other stuff because I know there's like a ton of like just things. Like the weird doing the brown face thing as part of my job was a little bit weird, although I didn't really know that that was a thing at the time.
Right.
You
That's a
know.
big thing. I didn't know what blackface was until like my I think it was my junior year of high school because I was saying like I don't see like it doesn't matter if like somebody who's not French plays a French person. Why would it matter if somebody like plays a different race? And my teacher was so baffled. He was all like, "Well, there's a big history difference." And he was like, you know,
Yeah.
like, and he was trying to like, it's like, what about? It was like, you know, the history of blackface, and I was like, and he was just, I could just see like him dying inside. 'Cause it's like
Yeah.
she's almost 18 and she doesn't know what blackface is. Like, where did this girl come from? It's like under a rock, under a rock. It's
Yeah. It's about that's an accurate description of my upbringing as well. Like
yeah,
I was oh, I just remembered one of the things. Um, one of the things is I actually didn't get in trouble, but I was related to it because there was a youth pastor who had a bunch of old comic books which I still have, and he gave them to me as a gift because I like comic books, and he's like, well, I don't really read these anymore, and they're just sitting in my closet for decades. So he gave me the box, and I was reading them, right, and the church fired him over that.
really
Yeah,
over comics, letting you read comics. What?
over giving a kid
That's wild.
yeah, he got fired from the youth thing, like,
People, guys rape children and don't get fired.
yeah, I
What?
know.
What?
And the one youth pastor I come across who isn't a little shady gives me comic books, and all of a sudden now that's too dang much. And then
That's so wild. That's buck wild.
they replaced him with this like military type guy, he's talking about how he used to be in the Navy and that kind of thing, and he was like,
Yeah, I know the type for
yeah.
sure.
And it's not that he wasn't friendly. Don't get it. You know, he was friendly. It's just he was, very like structured with the way he does things. You know what I mean? And also, like the way, like when it came to like going to like the youth camp stuff, like his ideas on sex are so like boomer, boomer esque. Like, you know what I mean? He's all like, I didn't even kiss my wife until our wedding day. I'm like,
Oh, girl defined energy.
oh, it's like, dude, that is not the flex you think it is. Yeah, it is all sorts of. I had a better conversation about sex and learned more about it from a girl I used to go to that same church with that was like 2 years older than me.
I believe that for sure.
And we weren't even like interested in each other. We were just friends.
Hmm.
And she taught me more about safe sex than anybody did my entire growing up, except for like this one church camp I went to. But even then, their goal was to still scare you out of it. But between her and the actual science that was given to me at that camp, I actually got a comprehensive sex education. But yeah,
Oh my god, it's always wild.
yeah. Can you
I
believe
feel
that
like
at
I've already
church
talked
camp?
about my history. Anyways, this
Yeah.
doesn't have anything to do with Nope. I'm sorry. I'm going down a tangent about shared trauma again.
I know. We keep doing
Trauma
that because every time
bonding.
we talk about Christianity, this pops up.
You're my only friend I have who has the same like excommunication type
Right.
experience. So yeah, I feel like it's like, wait, like the thing.
Oh, you should have saw it. Like I mentioned this the church sex ed camp that I got sent to. Right.
Yeah.
I mentioned
Oh
that.
my god. Yes,
So
you have.
all
Yeah.
right. So what's really funny is about that is that they gave out a book about with like anatomically correct stuff,
Hmm.
and that's where I learned where the clit was. From a booklet the church gave, the church camp gave everybody, which I still find to this day hilarious that a church camp gave me a booklet about it, and then of course my grandmother was livid, pissed off about that. I remember her
Oh
getting
my god.
so angry because she found the book that they sent us all home with, and it had like it was basically like what you would see in a medical
Like a textbook,
diagram.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Like
was like
a
a text.
actual information instead
Yeah.
of just don't have sex because you'll get AIDS and die.
Oh, we got that. We got that lesson too. Don't get it twisted.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Because and also if you'll have sex before you have marriage, you'll disappoint Jesus, and you don't want to do that.
I can't hurt Jesus.
Oh yeah, the guilt trips were there. Oh, and they especially talked about every STD under the sun, like all of them, even the
Oh
ones that
gosh.
were eradicated. Like I remember one in particular scared the shit out of me because it was like saying like you basically be urinating the equivalent of like nacho cheese consistency. Like it was like supposed to like that was
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
description,
yeah.
and I was just like, what the fuck is
I
that?
had a disc like that. That was basically like even if you've just had like oral sex with multiple people, you can still get like all these diseases that are life threatening and basically like even if you do fall in love, you get like give them a horrible disease, and that's still like always this thing is like every time I've had like sex with a person, I have like immediate like anxiety attacks because I'm like worried that I have like some kind of terrible STD and I have to like run to a clinic and get a million tests because I'm like it still
So,
sticks in your brain.
oh, I know.
Yeah.
I will say this: it has definitely come to my attention that like also like half of that stuff is like STIs, not even STDs. Like it's an
Yeah.
STI that gets fixed with a shot in like 5 minutes, that you can get at any like free clinic, and the STD but they would like talk about it like, oh yeah, this is what's gonna happen to you, and then what they don't tell you is like that's the stuff that happens if you let it go untreated for 6 fucking months.
Right. Well, it's like I'm very pro like, hey, yeah, like obviously like it's still good that I, did the things like getting tested and the
Yeah,
things
that's the
safely.
smart
But
thing.
it's like but it's like the anxiety and the panic attacks are so unnecessary and
Mm-hmm. Especially for
like just
something
the
like
very normal mundane adult things are
yeah,
seen as like so taboo and scary because of
yeah, and
cult upbringing.
that's how it's so dumb because it's still treated as taboo to go get an STD test. I think
Right? It's like, no,
honestly,
you need to get sick and die. Come
yeah,
on.
pretty much that's what they want. I mean, look at the laws that the right wing's passing. I mean, that's what they're
You
hoping
gotta
for.
ban those condoms.
Oh
It'll
God,
stop people from making us some more babies.
I'm gonna. I swear to God, I'm gonna snap one of these days. Conservatives make me so mad because they want to do all the wrong things, all the wrong things. Like literally talking about trying to like overturn the law that lets gay people have sex. Like, and Texas
Right?
has like an
Sodomy laws.
yeah, Texas has an anti-sodomy law on the books to this day.
That's so wild.
Yeah. That's why I keep telling people like this next election is so important because like we're literally like fighting for the future with this November's election. Like anyway, I'm not going to go into that. We already went into that one. We don't need to go into that. Sorry. Doom and gloom as always, as Brian is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get you. Sometimes you need a break from it, for
Yeah.
sure.
But
That's how I felt lately.
well, speaking of a break from the a pseudo break from the doom and gloom, I guess we should talk about the Prey movie finally.
Oh yeah, yeah. You said you watched that.
I did, and I think that some of the people who have making comments on Twitter clearly didn't watch that movie. Like, all right, have you seen this meme about that movie going around where they has the girl from that movie, right? They have her on the bottom, and they have on the top, they have the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that was made like in the 80s or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And they have like his whole team and all their big muscles and guns.
Uh-huh.
And it says, "You expect me to believe that this tiny native girl was able to beat the same alien that these 6 muscled warriors couldn't handle?" And it's like, clearly you didn't watch the same movie.
What the fuck? No,
The
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
No, that's so dumb.
it's a really stupid meme. It's clearly made by somebody who hasn't watched the movie and just doesn't want to watch it because they don't want to get woke.
Oh my god.
Let's be honest.
It hurts.
It does hurt. It hurts my brain because like, and the movie's so good. It's so well created, and
It
it
would
was
have been something I would have liked to see in theaters. It was kind of like as much as I
yeah.
enjoyed just watching it on my computer, it's like, man, this would have been like a great like
Oh
theater
yeah.
with your popcorn kind of movie, you know?
Oh yeah. and it wasn't scary at all. It was fun to
No, not.
watch, and it was like
It was a good nail biter, and it was cool just to see something that involved like Native American people being the main
the heroes
characters
of the
rather than
story.
I feel like the last thing we've seen is like Pocahontas, which was very
I mean, I watched
uh
Dances with Wolves as a kid, and that painted them in a pretty
uh
good light, I think.
yeah, but I feel like there's not that much. So to have
Right?
something that's like not necessary, and the fact that it's like it involves them, but the fact that
Yeah.
that is just
They're
kind
the
of a
heroes of
backdrop,
the
it doesn't
story, though.
necessarily,
That's
yeah.
the thing. Is like this one in this
I don't know.
movie,
It's just
they're the
I feel like
heroes.
I feel like there's a few movies I had like that
Like,
Spirit, which had like that, but I feel like it's
yeah.
kind of a waste. Like it doesn't, that kind of backdrop is never used like that time in history.
Mm-hmm.
From that perspective, I feel like Native Americans are always the background characters of
Mm-hmm.
British people. So it's
Yeah.
kind of cool just to see something that's
It's
not
kind
even
of
about that. It's just like a sci-fi movie that just happens to take place in that time. It was
yeah.
neat. It was just kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
Um,
It got the vibe of a western movie without the
yeah,
western. I,
it was just and there was like little interesting things like they had it so when she was captured by white people, it's like gibberish is coming out because that's kind of
yeah.
like
Well, I
what
thought they
they're
were.
going to hear.
Yeah, I thought they
You
were
know, I thought
speaking
that was
French,
kind of
is what I
cool.
thought they were speaking, but I could be
Oh,
wrong.
was it maybe? It just sounded like gibberish to me.
Yeah.
I maybe I'm racist then. I don't know.
You're
It's okay.
racist against the French.
I'm
How dare you?
listen. My
Sacre
mother's side of
bleu!
the family is French Canadian, so it's also okay for me to make those jokes. You know.
Somebody's
And
gonna
my
cuss you
great
out.
great grandfather was Native American, so it's also okay for me to say anything there. I'm kidding.
But
Promise it's a
like,
joke.
oh goodness, I like it. But it was a really good movie because like, well, and also I found it really interesting how like her brother's almost the only one that believes in her throughout that
Hmm.
movie, which is a very different dynamic we're used to. Like, I know that he says some things like you just can't do it. I had to bring you back or whatever. But the reality is,
Hmm.
like, his actions really show throughout the movie that he does believe in her more than the
Hmm.
others do. Like when,
Well, I think she just needs a little bit of training and help first. You know, I don't think
yeah,
it's like she can't do it, and
right,
that's kind of
and
the
that's and
interesting
that's
thing.
and that's the thing is like he is like no, she has skills, she can come on the hunt, she knows things that are useful, and like, you know what I mean, like he defends her and to the other guys, and also like she's a badass. She
Hmm.
literally, like, in that movie, like when she kills the white guys, she takes four of these grown men down, most of them armed with their own weapons. Like when she started that fight, she didn't have any weapons. She literally like rips a knife off of one guy and kills him with his own knife, and then proceeds to do the same thing with like three other guys before finally getting a hold of her axe or her hatchet. Like,
Hmm.
she's a real. And then like when she's fighting the asshole that's from her tribe that tries to like force her to go back. Like
It's a great scene.
it was a great scene. Like she had him beat. She had him beat. If the other guys had just stepped aside and let it stay a one-on-one fight, she'd have knocked his teeth out. Just bam. You know, she had. I mean, she's literally the definition of warrior. And like literally, if you go to the dictionary, it'll have her picture, or it should anyway. I said what I said. But like, and anyway, to get back to the I could gush for the lady
Yeah.
forever. But to get back to the idiotic tweets, they're trying. One of the arguments they're saying is like, oh, it's impossible that she could beat this thing that where these guys couldn't. Well, clearly one of the reasons why she was able to beat them is because she's smarter, and she literally like makes a point about it in the movie, like with the beaver stuck in the dam story. Do you remember? Okay, there's this. You
No.
know the scene, right? All right, it's the scene where her and her brother are trying to get out after they've been tied to the tree,
Hmm.
and they have to use a bear trap to get out.
Hmm.
Yeah, she tells a story about a beaver that gnaws off its own legs because it got stuck in a dam and was gonna drown, and it gnaws off one of its legs, and says it was worth it because being alive and having one foot was better than being dead and whole.
Mhm.
And the brother's like, "Don't do it, don't do it," and she drops a rock into the mouth of the bear trap, and it causes it to bite the the rope that's holding them together. And she makes the comment, "But I'm smarter than a beaver." So yeah, and that's kind of been her whole skill set this whole time in this movie. Is she's smarter than everyone else. She's proving that her brains are more important than her brawn. She overpowers a stronger opponent by picking the right time to do battle and picking the right, like, noticing his weaknesses as they fight and as he fights other people. Like, that's the reason she won. She won because she was smarter. Also, people forget that's how everybody beats the Predator. In every one of these movies, it's the same method. They beat them by outsmarting them, not outpowering them. That's the whole point of these movies. Arnold's character does the same thing.
I've only seen like the very original one and this one, and I never thought it was like anything mind blowing. I just thought it was kind of a funny, cheesy
I think I've seen Predator 2.
popcorn flick.
Yeah.
So for me, I never thought of it as like this end up, and for me, like I could care less if it really because it's like for me, like the Predator movie isn't anything serious. Like I don't
Yeah, it's
care
not
about the
supposed to be.
logistics
Yeah, it's just supposed to be a
the
fun
smart.
movie.
I'm like I don't care they used a machine gun or bow and arrow to defeat the monster. I'm just watching this while eating my popcorn and
Oh, I
going to
know.
bed.
But you know how nerdy men are. They got to take things to.
I just feel like they only care because they only care when it's a girl.
I feel like that is an element there too. Honestly, like I think, although honestly, I think racism would have played a role in this too. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
like it's. I don't think it's just the fact that she's a woman. I think it's the fact that she's also a Native American woman, and you know how fucking angry white men
Yeah.
are. They're like, they're already they would be mad if it was a Native American guy who beat the monster. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they're just more mad because it happens to be a Native American woman who they through their racism probably think doubly, like, oh, she's double inferior or whatever, which is really stupid. Like, it's all incredibly dumb. It's all incredibly dumb. Every one of these stupid memes, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna expect me to think the girl did it? The girl did it by being smarter." There's a whole like story reason she won. She didn't just win because she's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was smart. She played to Predator's weakness, and then guess what? You notice how, like, in the future movies, their technology advanced better, and they made it harder for people to steal their weapons and use it against them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, the Predator looks fucking terrifying in this movie, and that is fantastic.
See, I cared less about the logistics of things. I just thought that the visuals were really cool, and I thought the characters were interesting, and it was just, for me, it felt more like a metaphor for. In this case, it just felt like a metaphor for colonization, like this horrible, disgusting monster coming and taking over your land, gutting it. And to me, the Predator is just supposed to be symbolic for white people. And if that's the case, then I guess she shouldn't have won, because we know how that story ended sadly. But for
All right,
me,
hold
that's
on,
kind
hold
of
on.
how I
Let
saw
me
it, and
let
I
me
could care
correct a
less
point.
about that.
Let me correct something on that point. By the way, white people didn't conquer Native American people. That is not what happened. You want to know how the Native Americans got wiped out? The reason why is because white people wiped them out with disease and deception. All right, our diseases that they didn't have any natural protections for from Europe came over and wiped them out. That's what happened to
Well, we
most.
also murdered a lot of
Oh,
people,
sure,
and we're like,
sure,
here,
but
you
those
have to move
diseases
across
did most of the
country.
work. Those diseases did most of the
Yeah.
work, and then we betrayed all of our agreements with them. So that's the deception part that I'm making. And then yes, we did war with them, and we, people who, our ancestors, killed a bunch of their ancestors. But make no mistake, the diseases that we brought over from Europe did most of the work. Our ancestors were also just backstabbing assholes.
See, that's more. Yeah, anyway, so
So yeah,
that's
that's
kind of how I saw it,
yeah.
was that,
Sorry for
but
the
also
rant,
I
by the
just
way.
thought it was kind of a cool, I don't know, I thought it was just kind of a cool popcorn flick where it just
Oh yeah.
had some just like visuals that we haven't seen before. It was interesting to see like that kind of backdrop
Yeah.
mixed with like the alien. I don't know. It was just really cool to see like very bare bone weapons and tactics against something very sci-fi. I thought
Hmm.
it was very visually interesting. And to me, like even if that was the only thing out of it,
Also, the Predator
um,
had a futuristic was futuristic, but also primal at the same time. Like his mask
yeah,
looked almost made like it was made out of bone or something,
yeah.
even though it probably wasn't. But you know, it looked like it was. So it's kind of like a just a fun little flavor text to that. And sorry for the rant, by the way. I've seen a lot of like I follow all sorts of people on TikTok. Some of them
Mhm.
are like historian types and they talk about history. So that's the reason why that when you brought it up about like how white people like conquered natives, I
I
was
didn't
like,
realize I used that wording in
well,
particular. I
no,
just
you
meant
didn't
like,
use that wording. I'm just saying
oh,
like
we
we
sadly,
had murked we had our ancestors had killed a bunch of them, but a lot of people like but it made me think about how that's the misconception that a lot of white people have today. They think that we beat them through war, you know. We didn't. We beat them with disease mostly, and that's and backstabbing, like because we violated like every our government basically violated every treaty with Native Americans pretty much from day one all the way to today. Like we're still doing it. Our government is still doing it. That's why natives say that we are all existing on stolen land, and they're not wrong.
no, that's yeah.
And
That's I don't know. Anyways, that's kind
anyway,
of how
back
I
to the
kind of
movie.
saw it.
Sorry about the rant, by the way. I just,
Yeah.
that sparked a thought, and I just ran into, my brain went off into that whole train there. But yeah, but to get to the whole back to the movie, like you were saying, like the visuals were fantastic. They were fantastic, and I like how the native characters they were the heroes of the story. They were not side characters by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like we haven't seen that very much, or
No, we need to see more
you
of it.
know, I don't know. I just like using that, as like the main platform rather than like a side quest
Yeah,
thing. I feel like that's kind of
like with
I don't. I
Dances
feel
with
like that's
Wolves
the
a
only
little
way
bit.
I've seen it. Yeah. I
It,
haven't actually seen
okay,
Dancing with Wolves, so I can't comment on that. But
okay.
probably.
It's kind of a movie trope when it comes to like a lot of movies. All right, so have you ever seen? How about The Last Samurai? Have you ever with Tom Cruise? Have you ever seen that?
Tom,
Even vaguely.
no.
Okay, basically the
I
only
avoid Tom Cruise movies. I hate Tom Cruise with a burning passion.
well the only thing the movies that The Last Samurai and Dances with Wolves have in common is that they're about a white guy who essentially like tries to or essentially gets like um how do I put this? It's like they switch to the other person, the native person's culture per se, instead of their tradition, their like colonizer culture, if you will. So
Okay.
like for example, in The Last Samurai, we have our main character that Tom Cruise plays is playing a general of the United States military who, after the Civil War, uh, I think after the Civil War anyway. That's what the uniform looks like. He basically comes to Japan to train Japanese troops because they're having a civil war with the samurai. Because the emperor wants to modernize and the samurai are traditionalists and they don't want to do that. And he gets captured in the first battle and learns about the way the samurais live their lives, and then he switches sides. He decides he wants to fight with the samurai and fight by their code of honor and all that stuff. And he ends up getting like the samurai he defeated in battles armor and like he goes he tries to defend this village that's trying to stay living in this samurai way. And it's very similar into with Dances with Wolves in the way that like we follow a white man who basically incorporates himself into a native person's
Yeah.
way of living. So, we have.
Which I don't think is necessarily always offensive, especially if it's them going to the other side. But I think that sometimes, I don't know, at least I would think from somebody else's perspective, it has to constantly suck being the side character. At least that's how I feel
Because it's
like when
very
I was
much
younger,
about these.
whenever I played, like I wanted to play fighting the dragon, and I would pretend to be the prince so that I could have a chance to defeat the dragon because I didn't really understand because in my head like girls couldn't do those things, and I feel like it had a similar concept with other things, where it's like sometimes it's just nice to have an example or just a character that looks like you
Yeah.
getting to actually do the fun shit instead of be the side character who uh, is there for shits and giggles.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just to, like, you know what I mean. It's kind of like a weird thing. Like, I'm sure there are other movies too, but like the point that I'm getting at is that there's a chunk of these movies where they have like it's centered around a white guy's story, but he's like incorporating himself or being incorporated into a person of color's culture instead of his own. And
Mm-hmm.
look, the mixing of culture has a lot, like, and also these characters, to be fair, are invited into this culture. They're not what do you call it? They're not just taking it.
Colonizers.
Yeah, like, to be fair, like I don't think that Tom Cruise's character, like, even though he starts off as a adversary, over time in the movie, as he stayed with these samurai guys, they let him, they let him train with them, and he learns from them, and like they let him be a part of their world, and he tells them about his world, etc. The world where he comes from, and it's very much like it's more like a culture exchange. It's just that he decides theirs uh, is a better way of life in the two movies that I've mentioned, because those are the only two that I've seen that have a similar theme in that way.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are other ones. But but the point that I was trying to get back to the Prey movie, the point that I was making with the tangent with those
No, you're
movies
good.
is that the 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 people that are native to that story, right? The samurais or the Native Americans they're, like you said, they're the side characters to this white guy's story, which in Prey, the white people in this movie are just the other group of assholes, which is
Yeah, yeah,
historically accurate.
it's true. I don't know. It was nice to see something like that. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like every story has just like a straight white dude as the main protagonist. And sometimes it's just nice to have something else.
Yeah, yeah,
Just like
I agree.
I don't know. It's nice to see something a little bit more relatable, and just also women are a lot nicer to look at than men, no offense. If I have to stare at something for an hour and a half, I'd rather it be a woman.
I see how it
That's just
is. Now we know the real reason why Carissa likes this movie. Now we know. But yeah, but yeah, it's definitely a breath of fresh air in the sci-fi world, I think.
yeah. It was interesting. That's the best thing. It was enjoyable if nothing else. Like I had a good time while watching it.
Yeah, I did too. Actually, my speaking of that, my favorite scene in this whole movie is the final battle where she is fighting the predator, and she's like, all like, you remember the scene where he's trying to cut her head off with the shield?
No.
All right, there's a battle. In the final battle, he like, because he's done it before to like other people he was fighting. He
Mm-hmm.
has that. Remember how he has that shield, that retractable shield that comes out, right?
Yeah, like Captain America.
Kinda, yeah. It's like, it goes and then it comes out. Yeah. Anyway, he tries to cut her head off with the shield, but it's being stopped by these two rocks. And like the badass she is, she reaches up and grabs one of his fangs and rips it out and stabs him with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, like one of his bottom like tusk
I
rings.
was.
He's just
I'll be
yeah.
honest. I got drunk while watching it, so the ending's kind of blurry to me. I need to go through and rewatch it again
So the
because, like,
violent.
I did. I was like trying to stay awake because I was very interested, but I passed out towards the end, so I was like kind of falling in and out.
In
I
translation, you just didn't want to watch that boy shit.
I mean, it was interesting. I could care less about the fighting stuff. That's
It's
gonna
just
be
a.
more where I fall asleep, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm just
Um,
teasing, because that's like a line you used to say a while back.
boy,
Yeah,
I still say that quite often, you know, where like, you know,
it's like it's just boy shit.
boy, I don't care about boy shit.
Oh, it's fantastic. But yeah,
I I've been rewatching Breaking Dawn today just because I love that random shit where it's just, you know, this couple arguing over whether or not they should be having sex when she can literally die from it, and it's funny as all hell to me. I love that. I could watch that forever,
the
and
dick's
I
so
love.
good she's willing to catch a visit from the Reaper for it.
It's like relatable. You know what? Same. We have the same priorities in life. I feel you, girl. You know, I
Especially if
want to
you're
watch that. I
maybe this might be a bad joke, but especially a lot of American women now can relate to that.
it's like you may get pregnant and you may die, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, oh, look at that. Who'd have thought it?
Uh,
Twilight was just predicting the future. That's all that was. That's a horrible joke. Oh god,
and
it's
go every time you go to come now, it's like hazardous waste, you know, hazardous weapon going everywhere.
oh
Everybody
god.
back up, back
Everybody
up.
back up. The
This shit can
volcano is
kill
about to
you.
blow. Uh.
This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
uh, every lady in the world in this country is about to learn kung fu, and it's gonna be like, what? Just so right before the volcano erupts, kick him off. No, that's a horrible joke.
Uh,
I mean, let's face it. The conservatives have their way.
and
They're gonna
new
get rid
a
of
whole
everyone.
whole
Go
new
ahead.
meeting to getting him off.
Say what?
I said a whole new meeting to getting him off.
No. No, that's fantastic. Oh my god, that's fantastic.
You're welcome.
Oh god, I feel like I want to make that a T-shirt, but the problem is that visual just could not be on a T-shirt and be sold. I don't know how. Like, let's face it, that would get taken down in like 5 minutes. Teespring would be like, nope, that's too raunchy to sell here. That's a shirt that you find at Spencer's.
Just sell it on eBay. You can sell
uh,
anything on eBay.
Sort of, but not really. There's a lot of things you can sell on eBay. I'm pretty sure adult stuff's off the menu. Oh, what, Carissa? That was not a challenge. Don't go looking now.
You'd be surprised the things I found on eBay. I'm gonna start sending you some screenshots from now on.
Oh
It'll
gosh.
be like, yeah,
Just,
it'll be,
I think you just want to
it'll
send
be.
me unasked for porn. That's what I'm thinking here. I'm gonna need to get a lawyer involved.
Listen, I'm gonna start sending you screenshots, and you're gonna hate me pretty soon.
Oh goodness. I mean, let's face it. You probably could just send me any of your random DMs, and I will just be like, oh god.
That was the one thing I was really sad because I'm like, oh, I love like when random people join a live video and Carol and I were getting drunk,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just having a good time. We were watching like because when Boki and I went to the fair to watch the Derby, the
Mm-hmm.
boy shit I do like. I love
Mm-hmm.
watching big cars smash each other. It's great entertainment. Good boy shit.
Good boy
Anyways,
shit.
good boy shit. So we did free parking by the church because it's like why pay $3 for that when I could just walk a little bit further and park by the church, and they always advertise like free parking, and it was funny because we get back and of course they left a pamphlet and a DVD, so I was like, okay, movie night. So we had our little abortion babies. Oh, where's
No. Are you kidding me? Really? They left you an
A little.
anti-abortion?
This was actually at the fair. There was more than one. Oh, come on, get into focus.
Oh
There
my
it goes.
god.
I
It's
have
the thing they
one
try
in
to
my
guilt
car
you.
now too.
Is
Yeah, and if you notice the one they have, it has little balls on it, and it's white. So they want you to care about white male babies. So I'm just taking it as offensive. White male babies are the ones we need to worry about. We're back on topic. Um, but anyway, so I was like, oh, let's have a fun movie night where we're gonna get drunk. We're gonna watch this, and
I
yeah,
find it
we're watching our Bible movie, and we go to open up, and then like I'm like, oh, random person wants to join the live, and then I open it, and it's literally I felt so bad because I wasn't expecting it, and poor Carolyn had to be there to see it. I'm used to it.
mm-hmm.
She's not because she's not on the internet as much as I am.
Mm-hmm.
Just a full dick guy jerking on. I was like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I'm sure for
Immediate
you it was
block.
Tuesday. For her it was like,
I'm used to it, but I felt very much bad. And then I got very drunk. And then watching Bible turned into me watching Jack Frost Rapunzel crossover videos and full face crying. So
I got a taste of that
that's
recently,
me.
by the way. I So I'm a moderator in one of the Yu-Gi-Oh groups that I
Uh huh.
post to like advertise my videos, and
Right, right, right.
apparently lately I have had to delete and block so many like scammers because
Mm-hmm.
there's been an uptick in people like trying to scam. I guess they figure nerdy men out of their money, and they're posting like porn on Facebook.
Oh
So I've
God.
had to like delete, block them. It's happened a lot lately. And apparently there's also an uptick on scamming in the whole like Yu-Gi-Oh community. We've been seeing
Mm-hmm.
like there's been people like stealing the identities of prominent Yu-Gi tubers, right? Then going into said Yu-Gi tubers videos and commenting "You've won" to random people.
Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
annoying.
And they're just trying to scam their audiences out of their money. And some
Uh
of
huh.
them, and I've also had to delete like bot accounts that have been like coming into my commenting on my YouTube videos. Say, click here for free porn.
Oh, ooh, that's my favorite kind.
It's like, and it's been a lot lately. Like, I mean a lot. Like, I deleted like 20 comments last week. I don't know what that's about. Like, it's fucking insane. Now, luckily, YouTube has flagged a few of them for me. Like, they're like, hey, somebody's commenting this shit. Do you want people to be able to see this? You know? And I'm going, no. No, I do not. But there are a few that slip past the cracks. And, like, I've been like, no, click. Gone. And block that person. So, now if they try to comment, it goes to the void where nobody but them can see it. So it's like, middle finger.
Oh,
Drives me crazy, man. I don't know what that's about. I mean, like, look, scammers are going like all sorts of crazy places these days to try to scam people out of their money. Like, I do they just assume that all nerdy people are like my age and lonely?
yes, yes,
I mean,
yes,
look. That is a reductionist stereotype that's designed to fit
yes,
people in little tiny
yes,
boxes. All right,
yes,
on me, yes, you click the right box though. I'll give you that. I'm just
yes.
kidding. They think we're all 30-year-old lonely men. Here's the funny thing,
I
Mark. In my case,
mean,
I'm not even that. I'm not even lonely.
just the 30 man.
I'm just a 30-year-old man. I'm just not lonely.
Does it? Really? Say that one more time without your voice crack.
Oh, I was laughing because it's like it's stupid.
I'm
They think
joking.
that all the comic book nerds are fucking like. I'm like, bro, half of the big people you're commenting on are getting married.
Uh,
Like literally,
that's the weirdest thing for me. Yeah, going through old videos and it's like this child in this video is now engaged and it's like wild for me. It's like, oh my god, I'm old.
well, I'm in the
I'm old as
Yu-Gi-Oh
shit.
circle, as you are aware. But in the Yu-Gi-Oh circles, I've been seeing a lot of my fellow content creators who are my age are now married or getting married. So it's really not
Yeah.
that weird for the age demographic. It's just, you know,
I always feel like I just graduated high school yesterday, so when I keep seeing like
Even though like you're
girls
10
who
year,
were
you're
like, I used to babysit are now getting engaged, it's like, the fuck? Excuse me, you're a baby.
yeah, you
You're
don't
not
get.
allowed.
Yeah, you're a child still. Yeah.
You're a child, and it's like, hello, I'm 20. I'm like, no, you're not. Fuck you.
I know the pain because like I have a buddy of mine I play Yu-Gi-Oh with at my used to play with him at my old locals, and recently I went to my new place that I go play, right? And he brought his son with him. His son is now 8. The last time I saw him, his son was still in diapers. And I was like, I thought your son was still in Pampers. He's like, my son's 8. I'm like, has that much time passed?
Yeah, I feel that. My niece Bella, who's like the oldest niece in my family,
Mm-hmm.
um, she just turned uh, I think she's at least 10 now, and it's wild to me because it's like I remember when my sister was. I remember going to my sister's wedding when she was first pregnant for her, and it's wild because she's like, oh, already like planning, like, oh, this might be the career I want to take and stuff, and it's like, you were just born yesterday. What do you mean? You can't be like a full kid now.
Like that's not allowed.
That's insane.
Go back to
If she, oh my gosh, if she keeps it up, she's gonna be married before I am. It's wild.
it's like you want to yell at him a little bit.
Wild.
Like, no, you go back to being like 4 and asking for dino nuggies, okay? Enough of
Yeah, yeah.
that.
It's like I like fancy grilled cheese sandwiches with the crust cut out. No, you don't. You like dino nuggies.
You like dino nuggies, and you want to put your whole ass face in the ketchup again. Knock
Yeah,
out.
yeah. You are a
Stop
baby
it.
and you must stay a baby.
It is a little bit of like an adverse thing to think about. Like, it's just one of those things that, when we get to our 20s and 30s, we're looking at younger people and we're like, oh, weren't you in diapers like 5 minutes ago? Like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
nothing makes you feel old than when you're looking at somebody who is a teenager or almost a teenager when you used to
Uh-huh.
change their diaper.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. There's so many like
I have a cousin who's about to be 16, I think, if I'm recalling correctly. And I remember changing her diapers when she was 3 or two
yeah.
and a half or something like that, because she was a late boomer on that front. But you get the point. I remember changing her diapers. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like, literally, I was taking care of this kid. Like, my mom helped her learn how to talk. And
Yeah.
it's like, what the hell? And now she's a full-blown teenager, and she talks to, like, sometimes when we talk at family things, she tells me about all the video games she's into. It's like, you're not supposed to play video games. Get back in
I'm
that
too
crib,
young.
you asshole.
Yeah. That's how I feel when it comes to like my nieces and nephews. It's wild because like I remember like when they were first born,
Yeah.
and now it's like they're actual kids who have their own opinions, and they did like, and for me like I still look and it's like you're a baby, you were born yesterday.
Yeah. And it's like,
That's,
oh, no. Like, almost 15 years have gone by, and it's like, what the fuck?
yeah. Bogey is gonna be 24 at the end of this month, and in a couple months after that, I'm gonna be 23, and it's really weird for me because it's like it's like where has the time gone?
Yeah, it only
Um,
gets worse as you get older, trust me. I like, I'm in my 30s. That's no secret. And I just, like, every time I talk to somebody, like, that's, you know what I mean? Like my little sister's 10 now, or gonna be, like, 10 soon. And it's freaking insane to think about. Well, not 10. She's, like, gonna be 9 or something like that. But the point is like, she's
yeah.
almost, like, she's not far from being a teenager now. My sister, the one that everybody thinks is my daughter,
Hmm.
which I still find hilarious that they all think that I have.
When there's that much of an age gap,
Yeah,
yeah.
23 years difference. Yeah,
Uh,
everyone thinks she's my daughter. It's pretty funny.
yeah.
It's It's hilarious, actually. Like I laugh at it sometimes.
I
Like,
used to. I've gotten that with when I've watched my nieces and nephews by myself. A lot of people will think they're my kids, and I get to the point where I don't need to give all these strangers my life story, and I just sort of accept the compliment or whatever because I'm like, well, it's in a way it's my kid, it's my niece, it's my nephew, so I'm just like, yeah, thank you. It's like,
hey, if
oh
you're
my
helping,
god, your baby's so cute. I'm like, thank you.
just it's
I need
also
to I need
sometimes
to
it's
get
just
my
fast.
grapes.
Yeah, sometimes it's just
Yeah,
faster to
yeah.
say thank you and walk on. Yeah, I get it.
I remember it was very weird for me when I was like 12 because it was like I'm a baby when I would be watching Bella. And there's one time I was holding her for my sister while she was like, working um, on something. And I'm sitting there by the little free TV watching TV. And there's these old ladies that kept saying, like, oh, your baby's so cute. And I kept explaining, like, oh, no, this is my niece. And it's like they just completely ignored me and would keep going back to my baby. And after a while, I learned to just not correct people because they won't listen to you. And I thought that I looked as a little 12-year-old. It'd be pretty obvious, not my baby, but whatever. At the time,
You mean
I
shouldn't be your baby anyway?
it's with the laws are now.
Don't
Yeah.
even get me started about the like. I could rant about the 10-year-old in Ohio that almost was a mom for
Yeah.
hours. All right, I was so pissed about that whole situation,
She was born yesterday. Look at her.
and she's a whole ass kitten now,
She was just born yesterday.
and she'll be a whole ass cat tomorrow, and we'll be
Oh
mad
my
about it.
gosh. No, it's not possible.
No, stay as because if you're aging, that means we're aging, and we can't have that. No, that's exactly how it is.
Bogey, I need to start finding homes for the other ones because they're getting on dry food and stuff. And every time Bogey tries to say something about that, I'm like, what do you mean? They were just born yesterday. Just complete denial.
What are you talking about? They were just born yesterday.
They were just born yesterday.
I remember that one picture. That one cat's like food drunk. He's just like sitting in the food bag. Just I ate it all.
Oh my gosh.
That cat
These
literally.
two are these two are best friends. They're having the time of their lives. They got to do snuggles. They're so cute.
I think it's interesting that your
Pod,
cats want to snuggle. Mine doesn't.
oh my gosh. I all of my cats are great. It's so hard to get anything done because I already have my clinical depression likes to hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
First thing in the morning.
And your cats like to
But
take
it gets a
advantage of
lot
it.
harder. Is I'll just be laying in bed and I'm not kidding. Like all the little kittens will like crawl up in between my legs, around my shoulders. I'm literally barricaded in cats because I have the four little kittens. Lydia, who we adopted from the farm, who's a little bit mid-sized now.
Mm-hmm.
Podrick and Carolyn, and they literally, I'm not kidding, all of them will surround all seven of the cats will all sleep in the bed with me, and it's like I can't get anything done. I am in a cat brigade. I am
Would
in
you say
my
that you're in a
pile of heaven.
would you say that you're in a cat coma? A
Yeah,
Would you say
I'm
that
a
your
pussy
state is
magnet. What can I
catatonic at
say?
best?
It is absurd. No, I love it. I have the most snuggly cats, and I don't ever want to leave bed. For me, it's like, why would I go out and face the world when I could be in bed with these babies who love me?
They just want to snuggle.
Right? That's all I ever want to do. Are you kidding me? Why would I ever do anything ever when I could just simply snuggle babies?
I get that. I get it. There are days I don't want to get out of bed either. Especially in the morning, and I've been forcing myself to wake up lately, and it is horrible. I hate it. But I
Oh
still
my
have to do
gosh.
it for my health.
I have very severe anxiety and I'm not great with people. And lately I've been having to be more and more at work than anywhere else, where it's basically like sleep, go to work, sleep, go to work.
That's
And
why it's so hard to do
it's a
this.
lot for me. It's a lot for me. I'm a very socially awkward, anxious person. And to me, it's like the best part of my day is coming home and just being able to snuggle up in my room with my pile of cats. It's like I have about like three people I like, and that's all I want.
You're like that.
Like I just
You're that. You're literally the audio from TikTok. You're like, look, I'm just a simple woman. I like simple things. What was the first thing she says? I like something, something, great sex, and about three people.
yeah. feel it, you know. I as much as I'm a feminist, I'd be perfectly happy being a housewife, you know. Ten fur babies. I sit around. I just, as long as I never have to leave my little fortress, I'd be happy as a clam. I never want to leave the house.
Yeah, well, you like that because you get to choose that. That's the thing about the whole feminism thing. Just for the
Uh,
assholes at home, it's because you chose that. That's why you're happy
yeah.
about it. And that's the thing. Like that's what the assholes who are like hating on the Prey movie and the Black Panther movie. Oh, I never did finish the thing with the Black Panther movie either.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say like I remember I mentioned Namor, right?
Okay.
Who's the prince or king of Atlantis for Marvel.
Okay.
And they decided for their like aesthetic, they're gonna go with more like a South American like native tribe aesthetic for them.
Uh-huh.
So all the actors who I think who are playing the Atlanteans are all, Hispanic, and that has made apparently a contingent of the Marvel fan base mad because they're like, you know, well, why are they wearing this stuff and that stuff that's not in the comic books. So basically what they did is they tried to figure out where uh, Atlantis is located in the Marvel universe, and it's close to South America apparently.
Hmm.
Is the from the TikToks I've been seeing about it. That's why they went with that aesthetic, because it's like, oh, well, if they're right next door to South America, or in those waters, maybe they would have a similar um, the Atlanteans would have a similar look and a similar like culture.
Aesthetic.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
so that's what they went with. So they looked at a lot of like South American tribes, and they're like, okay, let's emulate that and bring that into the MCU. And so like that's why you've been seeing like it's very colorful. There's lots of like it's just kind of in the designs of like the gold and stuff like that. It's in their like in their armor and stuff. It's very cool. I like the idea. I honestly do. I think it's a very
Hmm.
great reimagining of Atlantean culture instead of them making like solely just all about like fish and stuff like they always do.
Yeah.
They just made them interesting is all they did, and apparently that threw a whole group of people online into a hissy fit because it's not comic
Yeah.
book accurate. There is an even smaller group of it. But I don't really feel like I'm the guy who needs to speak on that. I think like black creators are the ones who really need to be the ones talking about it. But the ones that I've seen that have talked about it, like not Eli Monte, for example. Y'all don't know who that is. Y'all should check him out. He's a very cool guy. He doesn't always talk comic books. He mostly talks politics, but occasionally he hops into the comic book world. And he talked about how. So I'm just going to echo him, and he's going to talk about how stupid it was because he's been seeing a percentage of people who are mad that there are brown people in the black people's movie.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
And like Eli thinks that doesn't think that that's a good argument at all because like obviously the MCU is they're making movies for everybody you know and I believe that this movie is going to have them be adversaries to allies is the rumor. So
Okay.
basically like because Namor is one of the good guys in the comic books. But he's also kind of flip flopped a little bit too. He's kind of been something. He's the off again, on again kind of good guy, bad guy type of thing. He kind of flip flops. But for the most part, Namor is one of the good guys. So the rumor is that they'll start off in the movie as adversaries. So it'll be the Atlanteans versus the Wakandans. And the reason why that's kind of a thing is because that's happened in the comic books like multiple times. Like Atlantis and Wakanda have kind of been at war with each other for a while.
Hmm.
So it's the two most powerful nations in the entire Marvel universe. So
Hmm.
it's very interesting. But it's gonna be. I honestly think that it's a silly argument to make anyway because people of color are underrepresented anyway. So let's go ahead and let's add that more representation, and it's still going to be all about the Wakandan side of things anyway. Like I said, the rumor has it's going to be from adversaries to allies. So there'll be like a reconciliation thing. I'm sure that there's going to be like a whole thing where Namor realizes, oh, I'm fighting the Wakandans for no good reason. And then, like, okay, team up. Let's beat up the real bad guy. That's my bet.
Right.
That's my prediction. I don't know for sure on any of that. That's just my prediction on that. But anyway, that was just the little bit of like news that I got about it. Anyway, there's a lot of stupidity around in this. Like, let's face it. There's too many damn nerds, especially ones that share our complexion, that are angry that other people are getting to be seen, and they just need to grow up and get over it.
I can agree on that one for sure.
Like, at the end of the day, like, nobody needs to, like, the Marvel doesn't need to prove anything to those angry white guys. If any of them make it this far into the video, I mean, I'll be shocked, but let's face it, these podcast videos are kind of long. But, yeah, let's face it, they're just looking for something to be angry about, or they're just angry that they're not the center of attention anymore, that now the spotlight's being shared among all the different kinds of people. Like, and frankly, it should be shared. It should be.
Yeah.
I'm actually ready for some more LGBT representation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm ready for it. I don't think there's nearly enough rainbow characters. I said what I said.
Yeah, that was my one problem with the Thor movie, was like, I feel like everybody kept going off about it. And it was nice, just like, obviously any kind of representation is better than none, but it was like,
yeah.
Maybe just because I had higher I was worked up, but it was like, oh, we got to have like a hand on the kiss between two girls, and the mention that they were gay, and then the mention that the rock guy had two dads and stuff. It was just like nice. It's definitely better than like what I got to see as a kid, but it feels like it's not enough. It's like,
it's not.
It feels like tiptoeing around, and it just,
I'll put it to you this way. Right now, Power Rangers is beating Marvel on that front. Because apparently the current pink Power Ranger in the current Power Ranger series is apparently the first one to have an on-screen girlfriend. And an on-screen romance.
That. It just doesn't happen very often, and it's kind of disappointing. Because it's like, I feel like I would have felt a lot more comfortable as a kid, like, if I had more representation and I didn't have, like, this crippling anxiety about, like, oh my god, I like women, it's bad, I feel like it would be just sort of accepted and thought of as like a non-issue if there had been like-minded things I could have seen.
We should petition once we introduce Aurora from the X-Men Storm. We should petition Marvel to make her and Shuri a lesbian couple that rules Wakanda. It'll just piss off everybody that's on the whole. They're gonna be like gay and
I'll be honest.
It'll be hilarious.
I'll be honest. I would want to see that, but for selfish reasons, not for representation, just because hot girl go mama together as hot. Yes, mommy likey, yummy. I want to see it for those reasons, not for any social justice reasons. Everybody else can poop on the ground as long as I get to see pretty girls be pretty girls together. I'll be happy.
I'm over here fighting for representation, and you're just over here lusting. I see how it is. You're just like... I mean, I get it. They would be queens, and they would be gorgeous. I get it. I'm a straight guy. I get it. But let's face it. The actress that
I want it for purely selfish reasons.
Let's face it, those actresses are all gorgeous too. Like, let's face it, they always pick the prettiest people to play these characters. Like, literally. So, yeah, I get it. I just really want to do it just because I know it'll piss off a bunch of fragile white men egos, and it'll be hilarious. Because I'll get to laugh at them and go, oh my god, how weak are you? And then I want them to go ahead and make the Young Avengers at some point, so we can have Hulkling and Wiccan, so they can see two dudes kiss on the big screen and get
I need to see that.
About it.
I'm excited about She-Hulk. I know it's going to be kind of dumb, but mommy likey.
I haven't seen anything on it yet. I'm kind of waiting. I think it started. I haven't watched any of it yet.
Oh, it did? Okay. I thought it was they were still just ramping it up. I have access to Disney Plus, so I need to just
I'm looking
watch it.
right
I know the
now.
graphics are going to be bad, but I've seen clips of like the character design and it's nice. So,
She Hulk. Yeah, She Hulk. I'm looking at it. Okay, no, it's not on yet. It's still got a trailer. Excuse me.
okay.
We've got a
I didn't think
trailer.
so.
Yeah,
I'm
I
I'm
was like,
definitely excited
yeah,
for
August
that one.
18th is what it says. So we've got a little while. We've got yeah, it
Okay.
comes out next week.
Hell yeah. I guess I'll have to sit my little booty down and watch that for sure.
I bet it'll be
I'm gonna
better
have a
than
great old
people.
time.
I haven't seen Miss Marvel yet, although I want to. I just haven't had the time yet.
I need to watch. I started watching it. I liked it, and that's my thing. It's like, the problem is I'll start watching things with Bogey, and then he'll finish watching it when I'm gone, and then I just don't go back and like, 'cause I don't want to like figure out where I left out on, so then I just kind of
Yeah.
give up. And I'm like, and then I get distracted, and I rewatch the same thing I've seen 100 times. That's been my thing. Is
My problem
I
is
have access
TikTok.
to endless new. I can't wait till I can have TikTok again. I'm so excited to have my new phone set up. Um,
Yeah.
I'm going to be a rampant menace on TikTok. I promise that.
I look
I'm
forward to
going
it.
to be harassing you and sending you 20 videos a day. Promise.
I look forward to it. And I'll watch
I
about
will.
3 of them.
I have missed my TikTok time, and I will be coming and harassing you like a wildfire. I promise that.
Bring it. Bring it.
I
I am
will.
unthreatened. Because it's
You
very
should
annoying
be.
that I have to save all these cute animal videos
And then
send
send
them.
it to me. Oh my gosh, yeah, that too.
Like
I'm
literally,
excited because
that's all
I've
I do.
got the fancy. This is the newest phone I've ever had. It's literally a double upgrade because the one I have currently is the iPhone 6X. The one
Yeah.
I have now is the iPhone 12,
Mm-hmm.
and it's literally double
Everything.
upgraded from my yeah. I'm so excited. I've been able to play with the camera and stuff while I'm waiting like to be able to actually activate it
Mm-hmm.
and get internet and stuff on it. But like the camera quality alone,
Chef's kiss.
fantastic. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Like the cat pictures and stuff I'm able to get on it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Imagine when I can like regularly make full videos with this bad boy. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great. It's gonna be great. I'm excited about it. And oh yeah, have I also mentioned I got Uber success now? I'm almost at 1,400 already.
Yeah, I've been keeping up with what's been going on because you'll post it on Instagram and I get to kind of see what you're doing on TikTok through there and it makes me jealous because it's like I'm not seeing it in real time. I'm seeing it after it happens.
Yeah. I'm
Whereas,
literally
like, I remember that would always be the big deal is, did you see this? Did you see this? Where you're like, spam messaging.
yeah,
I kind of miss that.
it's like I have so many like stupid like I have stupid videos that are going like semi-viral. It's very strange to me.
Yeah, I've definitely had that where it's like the video you put a bunch of time and effort into that you think is really funny or really well done. It's like
Yeah.
maybe 10 views, and then it's like a random throwaway thing of you farting. Is like everybody loses their crap over.
Yeah, or it's like
Yeah.
some midriff story thing. Like cuz what I often do cuz I do D&D stuff, you know. So I'll make connecting TikToks that are kind of like in the same vein of the story, all right? They're fun to watch individually, you know, but if you watch them, they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like these two TikToks are kind of connected because they're both talking about taking on the same monster or the same bad guy or whatever, you know, or whatever the story of the vampire character I play is. Um, it's very fascinating and all, but the weird thing is certain audios will get like 2,000. Like for example, there's one video I've got. Let me look real quick. Um, a lot of my videos are around 200 to 300 views, right? That's pretty typical for me. But
Yeah, yeah.
I will have like one video. Yeah, like all right, so I have this one video where it is just me literally growling at a ring. You know, like I'm you know, with my vampire fangs in just going while I put a ring on and use the effects of course that are available to me from them. And it's the song, and it's a random like rock and roll song in the background, and that got 3,000 views. and I mean, there's captions to tell you the story that's happening, like why is he growling at a ring? It's
Dang.
there's a whole story behind that, but like, you know, that's the one. Like, that's the one that got a whole bunch of views, and then like all the really funny ones where I get like there's an audio of like, why are you walking like that? And then like the guy says, because I got shot in the ass, Suzanne. And that audio is very popular, been going around all over the internet. So then I do it, and it gets the typical 200 views.
Sounds about right.
And I have another one that's going like the same thing. Although this one's way more it's the one that's popping off right now is from How to Train Your Dragon.
No.
Yeah, it's an audio where the Viking dad is like, I'm going to give that thing something to hunt because they're fighting dragons in the early part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like, I made a caption about fighting a Tarrasque, which is a really big lizard monster that's huge in Dungeons and Dragons. And apparently that's got all the Dungeons and Dragons peeps just going, yeah! Like, it's already got at 119 likes already, which is like massive for my page. I don't know. I guess the idea of two monsters fighting entertains them, I guess. Because I'm a vampire over there. Anyway, so will you be making a new channel for TikTok, or are you gonna like?
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to log into another thing. I mean, I'll probably just make a new one and then maybe something just for our podcast thing. That way we could like upload clips and stuff. I feel like that's just going to be easier. I've already made so many different new ones. I might try to log back into like my funny thing, but it was annoying me because I was like, I literally my account where I was just reposting funny, like Snapchat videos of my friend group. The fact that was getting like stuff flagged, I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, that was when I was like, oh, I got so frustrated. But
Which
I'm
makes
pretty
sense,
sure because I got temporarily suspended, so I feel like now would be fine to log into it, but I haven't checked on it in a while.
Yeah. It might be
So
safer to
I'm
start
probably
over
gonna
from
try to,
scratch.
yeah, something that's not connected to like I'm thinking I might like I have my Instagram that I have like all my friends and stuff on, so I might like keep that, but like make a separate one that's more for public view or something, just to be safe because I definitely like doing internet stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, you'll have to like, keep the spicy accounting information
Yeah.
away from.
I yeah. No. I
Like,
would rather not get it because it's like
yeah.
they don't care even if it's not related to that at all. If you at all mention you do that, they will take that stuff down. So I want to make sure like any stuff I have open isn't at all connected to that,
Which is stupid that you have to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, TikTok should just like get over it. But I get angry on your behalf, like, because I feel like how many people's careers have been kicked off from TikTok, right? Like, because spicy accountants, you know what I mean? Like, from like 4 years ago or whatever, however long TikTok's been around, that are like, they're doing well because they got their start on TikTok, being able to advertise and do like spicy dances and stuff, or thirst traps. And now TikTok all of a sudden gets a wild hair up their ass, and they're like, "No, we don't like the spicy accountants. How dare you, you filthy harlots!"
I told you about how like if I put my age as underage, they didn't care if I at all like had anything that was more suggestive, like wore a lower cut shirt or something. But if I had my age at my actual age, which is of legal age, that stuff got flagged really easy.
Yeah.
But they didn't care if I posted anything that was like suggestive, like my Catwoman cosplay stuff. If it was on a channel where I had my age set as like 14.
That's weird and creepy.
Right? That isn't where it's like where if it's appropriate for me to be like in that zone. But yeah, they're very strict on even just like nerd costume stuff for women. Like you're not allowed to do stuff like that even like, which is weird because like some of like my Catwoman costume stuff I've worn to Comic-Con things that were where there was a lot of kids and stuff, and that was seen as appropriate. But like to do a video on TikTok while wearing it is seen as
Yeah, how dare
inappropriate.
you? You
So it's like
filthy
it's very
harlot.
weird. It's like, sorry, boobies popping too much. You got to get out of here.
Yeah. Like, I also, that's like the thing I've been seeing is a lot of like. There's still spicy accountants on TikTok, obviously. Like, there's no way TikTok is like I've seen spice accountants who have had like 12 accounts go down, and they're
Yeah,
still
I
just
believe
making
it.
new ones, and they're just like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna make a new one."
See, that's kind of like I always go through this mode of like, do I want to do that or do I just? So for me, it's just easier to not have it at all connected. Um,
Yeah. Well, like,
but for me,
what's her
yeah. So
name? There's one spicy accountant I follow, um, who's made several TikToks, and she doesn't.
hmm
And her TikToks are stupid and level innocent. Like, you know what I mean?
hmm
Like, we're not here. We're
but it doesn't
talking
matter.
no thirst traps, nothing. But this one spicy account, I can't remember her name for the life of me. But I follow her every time she pops up on the feed. Right? When I find her again, it's like, oh, they're a cool follow, and she gets kicked off all the time.
No.
But
Oh,
she
I do need
also
new username ideas though. Sorry, in bad time.
well, definitely gonna have to brainstorm that one.
Sorry.
Is do not ban me TikTok. Too on the nose.
Gets banned immediately.
It's like, oh, okay, fuck you.
I'll call myself Bonnie.
Bonnie. Have we
Bonnie the
tried?
band.
Well, I was gonna say like we could try like conservatives of TikTok, and then you could just make videos making fun of conservatives. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, jeez.
Like
I'll
literally,
get
you could
myself
get
hate
your
crime.
you could wear a red ball cap and be like, "Let me tell you something about Big Daddy Trump's crank. It's huge. Let me tell you." Clearly, like, look at it. It's huge. All right, it's like, it's practically illegal. It needs to go back on its side of the border. You could just make jokes like that, like sit there making fun of Donald Trump all day. You could wear orange face. It's the only non-racist face you can have. Oh wait, never mind. The Oompa Loompas might get mad about that one.
Oh.
Oompa Loompa Oompity Dee. I've got a lawsuit for the. I don't know. That's a horrible rhyme. I don't know why I made them speak Old English. Anyway, guys, I don't. Is there anything else we need to wrap up before we wrap this video up? Because it's almost 2 hours long.
Oh, jeez. Uh, uh, Thoughts and prayers to my cat who is going to be getting fixed. She can no longer have babies, so that's two of my full-grown cats down now. That will no longer be able to reproduce.
No longer having
Um,
babies. I hear Republicans don't like that. They're gonna be like, "How dare you?
uh,
That's your
uh,
role to make babies." America.
uh, Pray that all the wombs shall be empty this coming month. And that we will all it'll be a safe household. Thoughts and prayers.
No babies.
That I don't lose my mind. Um, and I will happily start showing you my Christian Archie collection I found. That'll be the first thing I'll start doing on TikTok. I found many old notebooks and stuff.
Oh no.
Bogey has released a monster by bringing back old childhood memorabilia.
Well, this is gonna
We've
be
gotten to know each other
fantastic.
quite well when trying to cohabitate. It's quite interesting.
I look forward to this menagerie.
I've got some lovely, lovely comics between ones that I made when I was a child versus ones I tried to make as a teenager. They're lovely, and yeah, it's quite there's quite a few knickknacks to go over.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting. I'm excited now. All right,
I
guys.
feel like I think you'll enjoy.
I will. I will enjoy. I mean, come on. Your chaos was always fun for me to watch. No matter, you know what I mean. Like that's the whole reason why you and I even started talking is because of the chaos that you would bring. And it's just like I'd just be like, oh my god, I gotta talk to this person. Oh my goodness. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's it for today's episode. We actually did talk nerd stuff. We kept the politics to a minimum this time. I'm actually surprised, huh? I and the rants were down and all that good stuff. So it's a good episode. All right, we'll catch you in the next one. Like and subscribe if you've made it this far. And tell us, are you excited to see who's going to be the next Black Panther in the comments below?